Hi everyone and welcome to episode 2 of Relegation Rescue at Eibar with me, the United City FM. Welcome along. So we get to our first proper competitive league match today. It's a tricky one against Villarreal, sitting in the top 4 or 5 in the division. They're going to be a tough nut to crack. But somehow we've got to pick up the points to get out of this relegation mess. Can we do it? The first game starts today. Let's find out. So, welcome back to Eibar. We have indeed not done anything in the league. We have had a cup game since the last time you and I were together, just to go through while I was doing some transfers at the very end of the January transfer window. Unfortunately, we went out, but it was only an extra time. We did do ourselves some justice against Valladolid, who are sitting in 14th in the La Liga at the moment. So you can see that we competed pretty well, but eventually came a cropper. That is the only game that we've had since the last episode. It's all been about bringing in a couple of players in, really, just for some competition for places, especially in the striking position. We haven't done anything amazing, but I think we have achieved just that, competition for places. So, since I came into the club, I haven't really released anybody myself, but we have made 4 signings in the January window, 1 on loan, 3 on permanent deals. There's nothing here that's going to absolutely shake you up and make you think that's amazing, but we needed competition for places. I needed a central defender because we didn't have enough, really, but I also needed a couple of strikers at least. We bought 3 in the end. They're going to be working off the bench primarily, but it is about providing those competition for places. So let's just quickly go through them. The first player that I bought in was Marquez, and he is from Juventus. We bought him in on loan. He's a 20-year-old striker. You can see he's got 14 finishing, 14 heading. Composure is a little bit low. Off the ball is all right. The rest of it's average. He's probably going to be our 5th choice striker from this point in a 2-man striking setup, should I say, tactically that we've got. So he will get a few bits and pieces game time here, but he's not going to be somebody we rely on a lot. But I just needed more bodies in the squad in this position. So the next player we bought in is our central defensive option. Unfortunately, he's injured for today's game. He's injured for about the next 11 days, I think. But Iniguez comes in to the club, and we've bought him in. 27-year-old central defender, a good tackling at 16. Heading's not too bad. Marking's not too bad. Positioning is decent. Some aggression in there. So a few crunching tackles for him. Again, he's not going to set the world alight, but he needed to come in because we didn't have enough central defenders. We only had 3 in the entire squad. I needed that 4th one, really, for a 2-man central defensive backline that we've got working. So, Iniguez comes in. He's going to be injured for a little while, but eventually will make an impact on the team, I hope. So the next one in, the final 2, should I say, are both striking options. Both will be on the bench today. The first one is Australian. We bought him in from Maccabi Haifa. Excuse me, this guy's Australian, 33 years old. I'm going to butcher his name, I have no doubts, but Rukavitsia. That's what I'm going to go with, Rukavitsia. He comes in as a striking option. He can play on the wide areas as well, but he will be a rotating striker for us. Again, 33 years old, but he's kept a fair amount of pace. His physicals are not too bad. Mentals are fairly okay in determination and composure specifically, but he has got that finishing of 15 as well. So hopefully should be able to get us a few goals if we can get him the chances in the first team. So he's on the bench today. And the final one is another striking, rotating option. Again, an older player, 36 years old. We had very little finance, very little player pool to choose from in terms of those that wanted to come to us. And just as a little bit of experience, with like 10 minutes to go in matches, Perbet comes into the club, 15 finishing, 16 composure, natural fitness is good, no pace to talk about whatsoever, but off the ball is reasonable. And I think if in the poacher type of role, if we could get him 1 or 2 chances late in games, maybe he'll just poke a few away for us and get a few goals here and there. So I don't expect masses from these players, but then the rest of the squad I don't really expect masses from either. If we go in and have a look at how we're setting up, we are going to set up in the 4-4-2. It's what they've played a little bit, but I think it also suits most of the players that we've got. I'm still getting used to the players that we have. There's a couple that are out injured today. Iniguez, as I say, one of our new signings, is out for today's game. Also, the slightly aging right-sided winger that most of us know something about, Pedro Leon, he's out. He's got absolutely no physicals to talk about at all. At 34 years old, they've completely deserted him. But the mentals and the technicals for half a season, maybe we can get him some game time off the bench here and there when he's fit, but he's just picked up a little bit of a knock today. A couple of other small fitness issues, but nothing that will keep them off the actual bench itself. But our main starting lineup for today, with 1 or 2 players like our new central defender, Iniguez, who's out of the squad. Once he's back, most of this starting lineup is what I will be going forward with. 1 or 2 changes potentially, but nothing is set in stone and we can always change it. So in terms of the way we're going to play, we've got a custom wing play going. We're in the balanced mentality. Got a few instructions in possession just to get us on the right track. Slightly less instructions in transition, and then also out of possession. You can pause those screens if you really want to study them at all. It's nothing spectacular, but I think it should do okay for us in the 4-4-2. We've got some reasonable wide men, Inui on the left and Kike on the right. So hopefully those will get some ammunition into the strikers. Also, Rodriguez in this fullback position on the left-hand side, I think is going to be really good for us on the overlap potentially. So watch out for him. Other than that, it's going to be a bog standard setup, really. We've got a deep lying forward and a poacher. We've got a central midfielder and a ball-winning midfielder. A couple of central defenders. That's our central area right the way through the pitch. And everything should be fairly self-explanatory, really. Nothing that will change the world of football, but hopefully might be solid enough to get us a few points here and there to rescue Eibar from relegation, which is the entire point of this particular series. We'll play every other game for the rest of the season on the episodes, and we will just see where that leads us. So, forgive me for butchering all the names. It's not my strong point at all whilst playing the game particularly. And I'm just getting used to the players. But for our first game in La Liga, in control of Eibar, we're going with Dimitrovic in goal, Correa at right back, Rodriguez at left back, Oliveira, Burgos in central defence, Alvarez and Exposito in central midfield, Kike on the right, Inui on the left, Enrique and Kike up top, and pretty much everybody else that's fit on the bench. So fingers crossed, everybody. Let's get into today's game and see what happens. So in thinking how I want to set my team talk out for this particular match, first one in charge in the league, I've basically gone hands in the pockets, very chilled out, and just said, it's over to you, have a good one tonight, just no pressure at all. Let's see what we can do when the pressure is off, and we are up against a very, very good opposition today. So this is kind of a little bit of a free hit, really. We expect to get beaten quite comfortably by Villarreal, really. I will just make sure that we're on the right highlight settings because I have a feeling that we're not, and we're not. So let me just switch these around a little bit. For anybody wanting to know how I set my match day up for the match engine, this is how I do it pretty much all the time. So let's go back in on that and press play and move forward. Have we got the right speed on? It feels like we're a little bit slow still. No, we haven't got the right speed on even. So there we go. Finally sorted that one out. That's better. That will get us moving a little bit. So we have, in the last game, I was messing about with all of that kind of stuff that I was doing in the cup competitions and had it on full match for a while, for the first like 45, 50 minutes of the game, just for the first half to see how we were getting on. And we've taken the lead here, but in the second half, I then switched it to extended in between the episodes, just so I could check out a bit more of what I've got to work with here. The goal is disallowed, which is really unfortunate. He just moved a little bit too early. It was so touch and go, but in the end, we just were offside and it was ruled out. But a good start that will put the frighteners on Villarreal just a little bit to know that if they give the ball away in and around the box, like here, for example, we can make them pay, and we did. Exposito on the end of an Inui corner kick on that far side whips the ball in really nicely. Good whip of a corner. No floating delivery there. And Exposito gets on the end of it before anybody else could. And we go 1-0 up. And it's been coming after that original effort was ruled offside as well. What a fantastic start this has been to our first game in La Liga. The last game against Valladolid, as I say, in the Cup, we took them to extra time. We did really push them and competed pretty well for most of it. But in the end, just a little bit of quality showed through at the end of that. But ultimately, I was pretty pleased with what I saw. I thought we did a decent enough job. And I'm not too disappointed to go out of the Cup, if I'm totally honest. I think we need to put all our eggs into the basket of trying to sort out this relegation fight, really, in the league. So overall, that wasn't a terrible result for us. We competed and then got beaten. But here, after half-time arrives, we are 1-0 up. Both teams have had 4 shots a goal. We're the only team that have put 2 of ours on target, though. We've had a little bit less possession, which is fine. But ultimately, it's going pretty well. But just shh, don't tell anybody. They might not notice. We're going to tell the players that. You've played well. There's still room for improvement, though. Just keep them moving forward. And then we're going to fire them up at the start of this second half. Just to, as I say, just keep the focus on trying to maintain discipline, really. We're in a balanced mentality. So whenever games go for or against us, we can always go more attacking or defensive, depending on what we need to do. At the moment, I don't want to sit back. I don't want to drop off. I want to keep the impact on the game as much as I can. Villarreal with a good chance there, but we do defend it very well and then get a couple of really good little taps in the middle of the area of midfield there when the ball was sort of flying about a bit. Just getting those sliding tackles in and managing to push the ball in the direction we want has really led to some good stuff because they're now checking for a penalty. And it's been given and a chance for Kike to put us 2-0 up early in this second half. 59 minutes on the clock, and we do go 2-0 up against Villarreal. This is not what I expected at all. This was absolutely a free hit from my perspective. We could come here, play without any pressure, but if we got beaten, you'd kind of expect it. There's some better games for us to come, although next episode, not so much, because I think we've got Atletico Madrid potentially. But overall, so far, this is going remarkably well. We're going to make a couple of changes and just see if we can rotate a couple of new players in just to get them some game time, really, more than anything else, just to help out with the squad moving forward. So this is where I'm still learning my squad. For anybody that doesn't know, the way that I run it is you've got 1 through 11 in very recognisable positions in your starting lineup. I have tried to replicate that on the bench as much as I can, 1 through 11, so at least I know who I'm changing the players for. It's just the way I try and work when I'm at a new club and I don't really know them. So what I can tell you is also these the positions are listed down here as well, which helps. But Rodriguez can come out and Suarez goes in. Rafa Suarez down the left-hand side of the defence in the fullback role, so he can come into that position. And then we're actually going to take both our strikers off and bring our new boys in. So what we're going to do is we're going to bring Enrique off, and we're going to put Rukovicja, still going to struggle with that name, on, and also Perbet comes on for the other Kike. 2 Kikes in the side, both spelt completely differently, just to confuse me completely. But there we go. Those are the roles that we're going to keep them in as well, into the roles that was being played before, deep lying forward and the poacher. Let's just see if they can get on the end of a couple of chances and set themselves up as good potential for half a season with Eibar in La Liga. So that's what we're going to do. No changes to the style of play. It doesn't need it at the moment. We're playing pretty well and the confidence seems to be pretty high coming off those 2 goals. And we're on the ball again, and it was just a little bit too rushed in terms of moving it forward. And Villarreal will get a chance to counter-attack. They've gone over the top and through on goal, and it was a very nice goal from Vinicius Jr. But just in that full-back area on that far side, on the right-hand side, we went to sleep a little bit. The central defender got sucked in just a bit, and it created a load of space. You saw that open up as the defender moved forward. There was space behind him. Vinicius Jr. ran into it, and the right fullback didn't follow the run enough. And that is the result. We're at 15 minutes to go. I could go ultra defensive and try and sit back and try and soak up the pressure, but I just don't know whether this group of players are particularly good enough to do that at the moment. With one of our main acquisitions, our central defender, off the team today, I think we're struggling a little bit for that position, to be honest. But we'll see how we go. That particular highlight led to nothing in the end, and it was almost a good chance for Villarreal. But they are continuing to press. But we clear the ball again back into their defensive area, and they do pick it up very comfortably and work a good ball over to this near right-hand side as I look at it. And we'll just have to see whether we can hold out. Ultimately, it's still a free hit and we can't hold out. Now, should I have gone defensive? I think possibly, but I genuinely don't think this group of players would have covered themselves in glory. We have to remember that Villarreal are always going to be very hard to beat. We're going to go defensive now and hold on to that 1-1, the 2-2 draw, should I say. My head is not here today, I'm telling you. But yeah, we're going to try and hold on to it now. I still think it was the right move to try and stay in the game a little bit and compete with them in the attacking third more so. Because now you see all the pressure is going to come from Villarreal and we've thrown it away, haven't we? You can tell immediately that it's all going to go south in the last few minutes of this game. We did so well for like 60 minutes. And then the last half an hour of the game looks like it's going to go completely against us. They're going to get given a penalty here. We're going to have to rely on our goalkeeper, Dimitrovic, to see if he can bail us out on this one. And up steps the taker, and he misses it completely. And we have completely lucked out there with 4 minutes to go. Can we now hold on to this draw and this really valuable point? This was not a point I expected to get at all. You can see that in the end, Villarreal have come through and had more chances on goal. They've controlled the game possession-wise. Their XG rating was right up there. And we were a little bit fortunate. But ultimately, got a fantastic 2-2 draw against a really, really difficult opponent. So I am nothing but delighted with that. Even though we could have potentially tried to hold on to a lead, I don't think it was ever going to happen, to be honest. I think it was written in the stars that Villarreal were going to come back. So outstretched arm, I'm happy with what I saw. There's a lot of positives to take in that, and we can move on to potentially better games for us. We'll check out the fixture list in a second, but that is going to help us. We got a point today where maybe we didn't expect to. We've got a little bit of work to do. There's 3 or 4 clubs above us that have all got a game in hand over us. So if any of them win those games, then that just causes a few problems for us. But the likes of Cadiz sitting just ahead of us are still within touching distance. So it's not too bad at the moment. But if we move forward just very quickly into the newsfeed, we'll go through that quickly. And then we'll have a look at the fixture list coming up. Denied by a late goal, a couple of people making debuts, which is good. We've still got a good central defender to bring in to the starting lineup, which is fantastic. So let's go and check out our fixture list coming up, and you'll see that we have got a slightly better games to come. It looks like Hispalis, Real Hispalis is the first game up. And that they are sitting in 13th position in the table. Table? What on earth is a table? What on earth am I talking about today? It's been one of those days today, it feels like. I apologise. But yeah, in the table, they're sitting 13th. That's our next opponent. Then it gets really tricky for next episode, because it's Atletico Madrid who currently sit in second position. Again, a completely free hit. I expect to get absolutely done over by them. But if we could just hold on and compete and get a little bit of confidence from that, then that's not too bad. Those are the next couple of games, though. So I will be back in a couple of days from now with the third episode in this series as we just get to grips a little bit more with who Eibar are and how much we can actually expect of them. Today, I think they did pretty well. We'll see what happens next. Thank you very much for joining me. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already and join my United City community. The more the merrier. Click that like button on this particular episode. That will help me get seen by more people. Until next time though, take care of yourselves. I'll see you very soon. Bye for now.